As the 80s were nearing the end, in 1989, we would get Friday the 13th Part 8, Jason Takes Manhattan, which would gross $14.3 million on a $5 million budget, followed by Nightmare on Elm Street Part 5, The Dream Child, which would gross $22.1 million on an $8 million budget. Halloween 5, The Revenge of Michael Myers was released in October and would gross $11.6 million on a $5.5 million budget. The MPAA would heavily cut the films. They would be considered disappointments critically and financially. Horror icons Freddy Krueger and Jason Voorhees were now a shell of their former selves, ending the decade in a whimper. As we moved into the 90s, Jason would go to hell, Freddy would be killed off in Freddy's Dead, and Halloween 6 would have Michael controlled by a cult. With the slasher genre at an all-time low, one film was about to change that. In 1996, we would get Scream, written by Kevin Williamson and directed by Wes Craven. The film would open up with Casey Becker, played by Drew Barrymore, who was originally cast as the film's lead. She would receive a phone call from a stranger. The man on the phone would test her knowledge of the horror genre in a sick and twisted game that would cost Casey her life. Having a star actress such as Drew Barrymore die in the opening scene not only paid homage to Psycho, but would set the tone going forward that anything could happen in this film. Scream mocks and embraces classic slasher tropes. The characters in Scream have in fact seen horror films. Film geek Randy Meeks explains the rules of horror movies at a party, with one of them being that the final girl must be a virgin to defeat the killer. We see Randy watching Halloween and demanding that Laurie Strode turns around to face the killer, while Ghostface is behind him. Ghostface wouldn't be an undead zombie slasher or a dream demon. Ghostface was an average human who could be hurt. He would chase his victims relentlessly throughout the film. Everyone is a suspect. The audience is kept guessing about the identity of the killer until the shocking reveal that there are two killers, Billy Loomis and Stu Macher. Loomis being the boyfriend of Sidney Prescott, who took her virginity, adding another layer of torment. Sidney would prove that you didn't have to be a virgin to survive a horror movie. At the end of Scream, the killers are defeated. Dewey survives, and Gale Weathers is reporting the events that transpired. Scream would be an absolute box office hit, grossing $173 million on a $15 million budget. With films releasing in the wake of Scream's success, such as I Know What You Did Last Summer, Scream 2, Urban Legend, and even the Halloween franchise with Halloween H2O. Scream would go on to revitalize the slasher genre in the 90s.